All right, let's get straight into it. Today, we are tackling the big one, the final massive question on your GCSE English Language Paper 1. This is your moment to really show the examiner you can think, you can argue, and you can evaluate like a top-level critic. Let's do this. So first up, just look at that number, 20. 20 marks, that's a quarter of the entire paper, all writing on how you answer this one question. Nailing this is absolutely crucial if you're aiming for those top grades. So we're going to make sure you know exactly how to lock down every single one of those marks.
And this isn't just some abstract idea, right? This is a real question from an actual AQA paper. We get this statement from a fictional student, and it's a pretty bold claim, isn't it? It calls Kino unhelpful. See, your job isn't to just say yes or no. It's way deeper than that. You've got to build a convincing argument, and we'll keep coming back to this exact example.
So here's our game plan. Think of it like we're climbing a ladder. We're going to start by really getting what the question is asking. Then we'll move up to how you build a solid argument, and we'll finish right at the very top with the grade 9 toolkit that's going to make your answer seriously stand out.
Right, let's kick off with the absolute basics. The exam board calls this AO4 critical evaluation. It sounds fancy, but what on earth does that actually mean? What are they really asking you to do here? Okay, so here's the most important thing to get your head around. Evaluation is all about making a judgment. You're basically a judge in a courtroom. You've got the statement, and you've got the text as your evidence. Your job is to weigh it all up. You are absolutely not just retelling the story. This is an argument, not a summary. Okay, so if we're gonna climb this thing, we've got to know where the pitfalls are, right? The things that'll make you slip right back down to the bottom. Let's look at the common traps that keep students stuck in those lower level marks. And this is trap number 1 by a long shot. So many students fall into it. They just go, I disagree with the statement, find one little quote that shows Kino doing something, and that's it. But guys, that's not an argument. It's not evaluation. It's just simple commentary, and it will only ever get you simple, limited marks. Okay, now look at this. This slide shows you everything. The difference in quality here is just huge. On the left, you've got a level 2 answer. It makes a basic point. It finds a couple of words. But look at the level 4 answer on the right. It's using phrases like instinctive reaction, creates contrast, and portray their reactions. It is a completely different universe of thinking. And that right there is the key. That's the whole game. The level 2 answer kind of just points at something, the animal imagery. But the level 4 answer digs in. It explains why the writer uses that contrasting imagery. It's all about how the writer is building this complex, layered picture of two very different but equally powerful parental instincts. It's the move from what to how and why. So how do we actually make that jump? How do we get there? Let's talk about the practical steps to building that rock-solid argument that's going to push you firmly into level 3 and beyond. Honestly, it really just comes down to these 3 things. First, you've got to decide on your overall argument. Don't just agree or disagree. Think about that phrase, to what extent. Maybe you only partly agree. Step 2, hunt down those perfect, short, punchy quotes. And number 3, and you cannot skip this part, you have to analyze the writer's methods. And just so we're crystal clear, when we say writer's methods, we mean the toolbox the author is using. It's all about the specific choices they make to create meaning. Your job is to be a bit of a detective and unpick why they chose that exact verb or that specific simile, and what effect that has on you, the reader. That's your AO2 skill in full flight. Okay, we've built a solid argument. We're well on our way up the mountain. But now, how do we get to the very top? How do we elevate what we're doing to a grade 9 standard? What does it really take to reach that summit? Okay, you ready? This is it. The secret sauce for a top grade. It's all about nuance and complexity. Top-level answers never, ever see things in black and white. They don't say a character is just good or bad, helpful or unhelpful. They live in the gray areas. So what is a nuanced judgment? It means you recognize that the writer has deliberately created something complicated. Your argument becomes that the statement in the question is actually a bit too simple, because the writer is painting a much more messy and way more interesting picture. Which leads to a pretty obvious question, right? How does a writer actually do that? How do they create these characters that feel real and complicated, and not just like flat cardboard cutouts? Well, here's how. They give us conflicting evidence.
And your job as a top-level student is to be that detective again, to find those little contradictions in the text, hold them up to the light, and explain what they reveal. Let's jump back to Kino and Juana.
So let's look at piece of evidence number 1. You could definitely argue that the student has a point. The writer shows Kino as this furious animal-like hunter. Those words, snarling, and the detail that he bared his teeth, it paints a picture of someone focused only on destroying the threat, not helping the baby.
But, and this is a huge but, look at the second piece of evidence. The writer uses totally different animal imagery for Juana. She's a lioness. Still powerful, yeah, still a predator, but her power is controlled, it's focused, it's maternal. Her number one priority is the baby. And this is where the magic happens. This is where you bring those two clashing ideas together. A top answer argues that saying Kino is unhelpful is just too simple. The writer isn't showing one good parent and one bad parent. They're contrasting two different but equally powerful protective instincts. You've got Kino's raw primal need to kill the danger and Juana's maternal need to treat the victim. That is nuance. That is a grade 9 argument. All right, we've made it to the summit. Now let's pack our toolkit with the absolute essentials, the things you must have to smash this question every single time. Okay, so this is your checklist, your non-negotiables. First, always frame your answer around to what extent. Second, challenge or refine that statement, don't just agree. Third, use short, sharp, embedded quotes. Fourth, analyze methods, don't just spot them. Fifth, actively hunt for those contradictions to explore complexity. And finally, make sure every single point you make links back to and proves your overall judgment. So I'm going to leave you with this question. The writer has done their job. They've built a rich, complex, and nuanced character. Now it's your turn. Your challenge is to build an argument that is just as sophisticated, just as clever. Can you do it? After walking through all this today, I'm pretty sure you can.